Welcome to Big B Daily. No frauds allowed.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Big B Daily. This is your man, Big B, Brian Hanley. What is going on? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Got a good Tuesday morning for everybody, man. Conference finals, NBA conference finals starts tonight. Got a lot to discuss today. Good morning. Good to see everybody here. Appreciate everybody showing up. Again, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern. We are live. We appreciate everybody being here. Again, as always, if you like what we're doing, you want to help support the show, you know how to do that several different ways. There's always, if you want to control the conversation, make sure that you have a super chat. You can always control the conversation. You will get right to the front of the line and always have you put on a shout out. So we appreciate everybody doing that. Thank everybody for being here. Again, you also have tips there if you choose to do it that way. Also, like, follow, subscribe if that's the best way for you. Anything that you want to do to help support the show, we appreciate that. So thank you guys for being here. We appreciate everybody. Let's get into it. So first things first, man, let's talk about what's going on with Marvin Harrison. I'm not sure. We knew that some of this NIL stuff was going to come back and going to be trouble. Some of this is going to be trouble. Well, it looks like this might be a little bit of trouble. Appreciate it, Keith. Be a little bit of trouble for Marvin Harrison Jr. because Fanatics is taking him to court. So basically what has happened is, if people are not familiar, let's kind of recap it. Marvin Harrison Jr. signed an NIL deal with Fanatics. You know, signing autographs, jerseys, all that stuff with Fanatics. They paid him upwards, I think it was a little more than $1 million. They sent out two payments. One went in August of last year, and another one in October. Well, Fanatics has come back and saying, hey, you haven't completed or fulfilled your obligations to us. And you got to fulfill those obligations before you can move on. Part of what's going on is because he hasn't signed his likeness deal with the NFL Players Association. He hasn't signed that yet. Now, he has to sign part of that deal because he has to be part of the union in order to play in the NFL. So that part we all know. But the second part of it is that he hasn't signed the likeness part because he wants to do his own thing, which you can do that. You know, you can do that. And that's a good thing. And so because he's doing that, Fanatics is like, hold on a second. You still owe us some of these obligations. And I think part of it is because he left school early. How Fanatics didn't know that he was going to leave school early is beyond me. Marvin Harrison Jr. is saying, hey, I didn't sign any of this. This doesn't apply to me. There's no agreement in place. I did what I was supposed to do. One of the big things right now is that he's got the official Harrison Collection LLC that he is selling his stuff on. He is out there putting it out there, the Harrison Collections website. And Fanatics is like, hold on a second. You still owe us. You can't be putting this stuff on your own personal website. You still owe us. You got to be putting this stuff through us. You haven't fulfilled your obligation. He's saying that, doesn't matter. So in the suit, Fanatics basically is saying that Harrison told the retailer that a large competitor had made an offer to him. And it sounds like Marvin Harrison Jr. is trying to, let's just say, renegotiate the deal that he already has in place because somebody else has offered him more money. And Fanatics is like, absolutely not. They can offer you whatever you want. Until you've fulfilled your obligations to us, you're not signing nothing. like I said, all this stuff on this NIL stuff is starting to come to fruition. You know, guys are getting paid this certain amount of money in college, but like we said before, when you're a big time player, the money is always greater at the professional level. Sounds like he got offered more money. Now he can't accept it, and it is a fight. And Fanatics is big money. They're not going to go down without a fight. We paid you in college. We gave you this money. You're going to fulfill these obligations. I don't care what somebody else offered you. Marvin Harrison is saying that's not in place. That's not the case. But for me, it's kind of simple. And I think for you guys, it's probably pretty simple too. Either there's a contract in place or there's not. It's pretty much that simple. Either there's something there or there's not something there. So, and I think that's kind of what it is. And I think Harrison doesn't want to be with Fanatics anymore and wants to move on because he feels like this other deal that he has in place is with a better company, more money, didn't give Fanatics an opportunity to even compete with the offer and wants to move on. Fanatics is feeling some kind of way, and now they're going to court. And for me, like I said, the court case, I think, is going to be pretty cut and dry. It's either you have a contract saying this or you don't. Marvin Harrison saying, nope, this doesn't exist. They're saying it does. Now they're going to court to find out. So we'll see what happens with all this. I think it's fascinating because he can't even sell any of his NFL jerseys yet. So he can't even get any of that out on the market because, again, he didn't sign the NFLPA agreement. Now, whether he does that or not, I don't know whether he does. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But as of now, he has not signed that. He can't even be in the Madden game. Now, come on now. Now, I understand wanting to, capitalize on your marketing and make as much money as you can. You know me. I think everybody should be able to make as much money as humanly possible. They absolutely should be able to do that. Having said that, everybody, and I mean everybody, wants to be on Madden. I mean, isn't that, look, obviously the main thing is the main thing, being a star in the NFL. But you want to be on Madden. That's the whole thing. You want to absolutely be on Madden. So to sit here and to not be a part of that for right now anyway, that's got to hurt. That's got to hurt. So we'll see what happens with this case. They're going to court. I don't know that there's going to be a settlement because if one side's saying that you haven't fulfilled your contract and the other side saying, hey, this doesn't even exist, for something not to exist, I don't know how there can actually be a settlement. But we'll see. Sometimes cooler heads prevail. Sometimes they do. But if I'm Marvin Harrison Jr., don't you come up with a way, unless he just doesn't like the name, Maserati Marv. Don't you also come up with a way to try to manipulate and monetize that? Get with our man, Gus Johnson, Maserati Marv, and somehow try to capitalize on that. I think he's got to. I mean, Gus Johnson, number one, I think in college football, best in the business, and especially at giving out nicknames. I think he capitalizes on it. We'll see what happens. But yeah, this is crazy what's going on with Marvin Harrison Jr. Like I said, it's one thing to say that a contract doesn't exist. It's another thing to say, well, somebody else offered me more money than what you are offering, so I want to go with them. And Fanatics is like, absolutely not. You're not doing any of that. We're going to hold your feet to the fire. You knew that you were going to be good. You knew that somebody could possibly go. You should have put that in the contract. If somebody offers me more money, I can sign with them, or I at least have to bring that opportunity to you. Now, who knows who it is, that's offering him more money. I mean, who knows? But the bottom line is now it's a fight. It's going to the New York Supreme Court. To me, it's a little silly, but hopefully cooler heads will prevail. Hopefully cooler heads will prevail. My man Darren Howard says when the dust settles, he'll be with the NFLPA. But these kids, they think they can do whatever. There were zero guidelines on these NIL deals. That's exactly the case. There were no guidelines whatsoever in college. The NCAA has screwed that up royally. And now here we are. He's going to the pros thinking he can do the same thing. I'm surprised his father didn't advise him better when it came to this. I'm surprised his father didn't say, hey, son, look, it's fine that you want to take part in this, but when it comes to the NFL, you're not going to have choices. You're going to be part of the NFLPA. You're going to have to do the things that they are saying to do in order to play in the NFL. End of story. So it's weird. I mean, maybe he wanted to try to challenge it, and if that's where you're at with it, okay, but you're going to lose. And he lost. And he's going to end up losing this. So whatever the case may be, like I said, I thought it was fascinating enough to bring up and talk about today. My man Tanner says, does the NCAA and the NFL need a workforce to keep this kind of stuff from happening? Absolutely they do. Absolutely. But the NCAA has dropped the ball so much, the NFL's probably not going to work with them because they don't want to be associated with them. Because they're like, we're not working with these people. These people are idiots. We're not doing anything with these people. But you're right. Yes, they absolutely need something. So it'll probably get Marvin in Madden, if not this year, with the next 2 years. Yeah, and like I said, he's not going to be in the Madden game this year. But in the next couple of years, he will be. Which, again, that's got to sting the ego a little bit because, like you said, keeping the main thing in the main thing, playing football in the NFL is the main thing. But don't tell me kids don't want to be in Madden, that you don't want to be in Madden. I don't want to hear that. Everybody wants to be in Madden. Everybody. So, but we'll find out. We'll find out. The bottom line is, yeah, I like this, what my man Sideshow says. And yes, he thought he was returning. Yeah. And I think they put the deal in place, maybe thinking that he was going to go back to school. And maybe he signed it and tried to manipulate him and say he was going back to school when all along he knew that he wasn't. So it is what it is at this point. We'll find out in court. But it's kind of a weird beginning to an NFL career. You know what I'm saying? Getting sued by an apparel company before you even take a practice. So, but it is what it is. Marvin Harrison Jr., I think he's going to have a great career. I think he's going to be in line to have a good rookie season. I don't think Arizona's going to win a whole lot of games, but they're rebuilding. We'll find out what happens. So let's get this thing moving on. So, again, as a reminder, everybody, 9 a.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday, Big B Daily. We appreciate everybody being here. So, my man says create your own player on Madden. Yeah, man, you can do that, but you and I know it's not the same. It is not the same. If you can be your own guy and play you on Madden, that it means way more than possibly anything else, than creating a guy. So, but let's move on. Again, as always, before we do, I'm looking right at you. You're on this platform right here. Any minute now, it's going to freeze up on you. That's what's been happening to me lately. Make sure you do yourself a favor if you want to continue to follow and watch. Just click on the link in the bio and click on the live link and come on over, and you will come to a site where you will not get frozen. The buffering won't happen to you, and you'll be able to watch and continue to watch live. So just do yourself a favor because it's going to happen any minute now. Just make sure you do that. Click the link in the bio and come on over to the live link and make sure you're good. So NBA young stars. Right now, the two biggest NBA stars out there, in my opinion, are Luka and Ant-Man. I think Luka and Anthony Edwards are the two biggest young stars in the NBA as of right now. Both are in the conference finals, both playing well, both are the leaders of their teams. You know, Luka was top 3 voting for the MVP, and Luka's been in that conversation the last couple of years. Anthony Edwards, I think Anthony Edwards has a real good shot. I mean, all NBA is going to come out. I think it's Wednesday, and we're going to find out who's all NBA. Should Anthony Edwards, number one, should he be on it? Because I think Luka's got to be on it. So I think Luka's got to be on first team all NBA. He's only 25 years old, and he is dominating. I mean, if you're third in the MVP voting, how are you not going to be first team all NBA? So there's that. So I think Luka is going to end up being that. Now, when we talk about other stuff, let me fix this over here real quick. But who's going to be the other guard? Is it going to be SGA, who finished second in MVP voting, or Anthony Edwards? And is it a catastrophe if Anthony Edwards is second team all NBA? You know, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. You know, you see these 4 guys there. Anthony Edwards, Luka, Jason Tatum, and Halliburton. All young stars, all leading their teams. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. I like where the NBA is headed. I like that there's a new batch of young stars that are out there that aren't afraid, that are not afraid. And the conference finals, we're going to see some stuff that I don't think that a lot of people thought. I know nobody thought that these 4 teams were going to be the last 4 remaining. I know nobody thought that. But for me, I like it. And I think as a fan's perspective, I think a lot of fans like it too. Bringing in new blood. You know, it's not that we want to run the old guys out. We're not trying to push them out the door, you know, but we like seeing new blood. You know, let somebody new win this thing. And although Dallas and Boston have won an NBA title before, when was the last time? I mean, Boston, what was it, 2010? 2008? Something like that? Dallas, 2011? So it's been a minute. So it's good to see. We're going to see what the ratings look like, but I hope everybody comes out and watches. So I hope everybody comes out and watches. So, and I'm sorry, Braden. My man Braden says that Wemby needs to be talked about with the young stars. No, he doesn't. Not with these 4. He hasn't accomplished enough. So Wemby doesn't need to be talked about with those guys. He's done. His team was one of the worst in the league. Now, you're not saying that's his fault. I'm not blaming him, but it was. These guys are the stars of the NBA right now. Wemby can get there, but as a rookie, come on, man, let's be serious. Let's be serious. These guys are going to be all NBA players. Edwards, Luka, Jason Tatum, and Halliburton, they're all going to be all NBA players. Wemby is not. So we got to start there. So, but we'll start. We'll get Wemby again. We don't have to rush everything. I think that's what people get so enamored with, is that we have to rush everything. Wemby is not a top player in the NBA yet. And when I say he's not a top player, that doesn't mean that he's not good. It just means he's not one of the top players in the NBA. He isn't. But that's okay. He doesn't have to be as a rookie. He doesn't have to be. That's all. So that's all I'm saying, man. Hold on. We got somebody over here that Brunson is good, but Brunson's not in the class of these guys. Brunson's a good basketball player, but he's not in the class of these guys. And, oh, yeah, that's right. You're the guy who said that KD was washed. Hey, he's back, people. He's back. The guy that was averaging 27 points a game, shooting 52%, that guy was washed. I forgot about that. He's back. He's back. We'll just leave him to his devices. So we'll leave him to his devices, and we'll go from there. Either way, these are the young stars of the NBA. I like it. I definitely like it. I appreciate it. I appreciate these guys. And there's going to be more. There's going to be more of these guys up there. You know, Wemby isn't in the conversation yet, but he's going to be there. But I just don't think we have to rush it. So we don't have to rush him being there yet. My man Wacan, nope, I'm not high on Darius Garland. Nope. As a matter of fact, if Cleveland could trade him and get a bigger guard, maybe not as explosive, but a bigger guard to be with Donovan Mitchell, they would do it in a heartbeat. I'm not high on Darius Garland. I'm not. Now, what it looks like is that Donovan Mitchell is not going to be in Cleveland next year because I don't think there's any chance in hell that he re-signs with them. But he might, because they can pay him the most money, so he might say, you know what, I'm just going to stay. But they can't win a title the way that they're configured right now. They need a taller wing scorer to go with Donovan Mitchell. They need somebody, but you're not winning in today's NBA with two guys 6'2" or shorter as your two main guards. That's just not going to happen. And that's what's going on in Cleveland. So that's just not going to happen. But we'll see. But I like these four. You know, and again, they're in the conference finals. And it doesn't mean they're the only people. That doesn't mean that they're the only four that are young stars. But at the top of the profession, as of right now, throw in SGA, these are the guys. So that's just where it is right now. What do you think with Luka, and just specifically with Luka and Ant-Man? Because they're going to be going head-to-head. Who's the bigger star right now? In your all's opinion, who do you think is the bigger star right now? So I think it's Luka is the bigger star, but I think Ant-Man is right there. And here's what I will say. If Minnesota beats Dallas in the conference finals, Anthony Edwards will surpass him. He will surpass him. Because as much as we like Luka, you know the one thing that Luka does that turns, number one, it turns me off, it turns a lot of fans off, is the constant whining. Now, look, if we despise LeBron, and that's what most of you, I shouldn't say most of you, a lot of you people out there that despise LeBron, what is the first thing you say? He's a crybaby. Oh, he whines. He flops. There is no bigger crier in the National Basketball Association than Luka Doncic. There is nobody cries more than Luka. Nobody. Not Karl Anthony Towns, not LeBron. Nobody complains to referees more. So that's that. So that's the one thing that drives me insane about Luka. Not running back on defense, crying to the refs, constantly doing it. At some point, man, let some stuff go. So that's the thing with Luka. You know, and he doesn't play defense, but he's not a defensive player. So I get what you're saying, Wacan, that he crying and doesn't play defense. I don't think he's a good defensive player anyway, but at least he's been trying a little bit lately. At least he tries to get in the way, because previous years, he wouldn't even get in the way. Like, he didn't even try to get in the way. He just go on by. Hopefully you missed a shot. But that was it. At least now he's trying to get in the way. So, Anthony Edwards, though, with his personality, I love it. So, and then we got He has the second highest defensive rating among point guards this season. Please miss me with the nerd stats. I know it's important to nerds that don't understand basketball, that don't watch basketball, or when you do watch basketball, you just think, oh man, what's his defensive rating? Versus actually watching and saying, man, he doesn't keep anybody in front of him. I mean, Lord have mercy. Look, these analytics have a place, but if you can't just sit there and watch a basketball game and see that Luka doesn't guard anybody, I don't know what else to tell you. I literally don't know what to say. And I won't even try to fight it anymore. I used to try to fight people on it, and oh, you don't know what you're talking about. That's just wasted energy. It's just wasted energy. If you can't just sit and watch a basketball game and say, yeah, Luka doesn't play good defense. He's not a good defensive player at all. He can't keep people in front of him. If you can't just watch it and say that, then I won't even engage because it's a ridiculous conversation to have. So it's just a ridiculous conversation to have. Jiminy Christmas. But hey, there's a place for that, I guess. I guess watching actual basketball, that has now taken a back seat to nerd analytics. To me, it's never. Like I said, I know analytics has a place, but actually watching games is going to mean way more than what any nerd analytic is going to tell you. That's all. That's for me. Maybe that makes me old school or whatever. And if it does, it does. I watch the games and I know what I see. Period. End of story. So that's all I say. I respect Luka, but not a fan. The man can't play defense. I mean, he doesn't even really try. So you're right. You're right. So, but I like Anthony Edwards. I like Luka. Right now, I think Luka's the bigger star. Right now, I believe Luka is the bigger star. But if Anthony Edwards, if they win these conference finals and they go to the NBA finals, Anthony Edwards will have surpassed him. Anthony Edwards will have surpassed him. So that's just my personal opinion. Yeah, Capone. I used to like arguing with stat masters. So, but they refuse to believe. Like when you're talking to somebody that is in love with the nerd analytics, you have to respect the nerd analytics because they mean something. You have to respect it. But on the flip side of that, they refuse, and I mean refuse, to believe what their eyes are telling them when they watch a basketball game or a football game. They just won't even take it into consideration what you're actually watching. They don't believe in any of that. Nope, that's not what that means. What do you mean it's not what that means? That's literally what happened. It doesn't matter. The analytics say, I'm like, oh my God. They refuse to believe that you can make numbers look like anything you want them to look like. It's just, these are the numbers. That's it. End of story. End of discussion. And that's why I don't have conversations with them anymore, because they refuse to look at the other side. They won't even consider it. Like it doesn't exist. So, but oh well. Yes, analytics help, but it's like AI. You can't predict the true emotion of the moment. So that's my thing. You just can't. You just can't. But it is what it is. Everything has a place, man. Everything has a place. So we can't all knock it until we try it. So there it is, Braden. There it is. Analytics people don't believe in momentum. They not only do they not believe in momentum, they don't believe in anything that has to do with emotion. Like emotion has no part of a game. When hell, you could play a pickup game at the damn Y. Emotion is a part of the game. But they don't believe that and refuse to even consider that it's a real thing. They won't even discuss it as being a real thing. Yeesh. Oh, well. If we go off of nerd and stats, the nerd stats, and that means Sam Howell was a good QB last year. Exactly. That's what everybody talks about, is that Sam Howell had a good year last year in the NFL. And I'm like, did you watch football? Did you watch Commanders play football last year? But I'm getting off on a tangent. I apologize. I don't want to do that. That's a conversation for a different day, different time. I like Luka over Ant-Man right now as far as star power. But you give it another. If they win, if Minnesota wins, he'll overtake Luka. But I will say this. If Luka goes to the NBA Finals, his star is going to shoot to the stratosphere. Yeah, buddy. Being in Dallas, the DFW area, Luka, yeah, his star will shoot to the stratosphere. So, same with Tyrese Halliburton. I think Jason Tatum is already close, but they got to win the title because they've been there so many times and they've been to the conference final. They got to win an NBA title. But if Tyrese Halliburton goes to the NBA Finals, his star goes through the roof as well. So I'm excited for all of this to get started. Starts tonight, Boston and Indianapolis. Or Indiana, I should say. I love it. It starts tonight. Let's move on, people. Let's move on. Again, as always, as a reminder, Big B Daily is 9 a.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday. Also, keep in mind, people, I know if you're not a Steelers fan, and most of you aren't, don't be jealous. Look, God touched me to be a Steelers fan. It's not your all's fault. It's not your all's fault. But if you are, you're not, if you like good sports content and want some good football content, remember to go and subscribe on YouTube and all social media platforms to Steelers Almighty. We have been doing this for just over a month now. We got a new episode coming out today. So Steelers Almighty is a new platform that we have started. A lot of good content on there. Make sure you go and subscribe and follow, like, all that good stuff on all social media platforms. And on any podcast where you get a podcast, you can find Steelers Almighty there as well. So make sure you do that. As a quick reminder, Thursday, I will not be having a show on Thursday morning. I will be out of town. I've got to give my brother's scholarship away, the Robert O. Hanley Jr. Memorial Scholarship. I give it away to our high school every year. We started it 4 years ago in my brother's memory. So I will not be able to give or have a show. I will be there giving that away. I'll be back and we'll have one on Friday. But on Thursday, we will not have a show. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands. If you don't see us, don't look and wonder where we are. We're not going to have a show on Thursday. So I apologize. I apologize, but, we're doing it for a good cause. For a good cause. So, but let's move on, people. Let's move on. So, the most impactful athletes in each sport, or the sports that I'm going to mention, who have been the most impactful. Now, I could say all time, but I think maybe we just go back the last 50, 60 years. Who have been the most impactful for their sport? And this is up for some debate. So, now, my man Wakan puts out Muhammad Ali. I think Muhammad Ali is the most impactful of all time. I don't even think it's a question. He's the most impactful of all time. But for me, here is what we have got. The most impactful. And look, I did it by sports that I know about, really. Like, I didn't do a hockey because I don't know, and I'm not going to try to insult the intelligence of people that know hockey. I'm not going to do that. So I didn't mention hockey, but the other sports I follow and I put them out there. So football, I put Lawrence Taylor. Now, look, it's no secret that I believe that Lawrence Taylor is the greatest athlete or greatest football player of all time. I don't necessarily have to like his politics as of late, but that has nothing to do with it. Lawrence Taylor is still the greatest football player, in my opinion, of all time. Not only did he revolutionize the outside linebacker position and the rush linebacker position, he also revolutionized the left tackle and made it important. He made it into a position of importance, the second most important position on the team. He did that by not even playing the position. How many other football players have done that? Have made another position on the other side of the field important. Who did that? Lawrence Taylor did it. So I believe that Lawrence Taylor is that guy. Now, in basketball, a lot of young people are going to say Steph Curry. Well, everybody shoots threes now. And yeah, that's true. But if you're really a basketball fan and you understand how basketball works, that's not even a good thing. They've just taken the analytics and ran with it and just said, well, if you can make more threes, you can score more points. But that's not the most efficient, and in my opinion, it's still not the best way to play basketball. But for me, it's Michael Jordan. I don't even think it's close. So I just don't even think it's close. And I mean, we still talk about here's how good Michael Jordan is. He hasn't been relevant. Like, he played with the Wizards, but he wasn't relevant. He hasn't even been relevant since 1998. And we still talk about him being the greatest basketball player ever. Most players that play today say that he is the greatest basketball player ever. You know, whether you believe it or not, there's a lot of people that like him. There's a lot of people that like LeBron. But if you ask most players, they say it's him. So now, come on, look, you got to stop, brother. Larry Bird and the trash talking and the fights on the court. Look, Larry Bird is my favorite player of all time. We all know that. But Larry Bird is not the most influential player or most impactful player in the sport. He's just not. But I love Bird. Don't get me wrong. I love him. But no, to me, I think it's Jordan, and I don't even think it's close. I don't think it's close. Now, we're going to move on. Baseball, look. My man Capone throws out Jackie Robinson. And I guess when I thought about this, I put a disclaimer in the last 50, 60 years. Well, Jackie Robinson played a long time before that. But, so I said it was Barry Bonds. I said Barry Bonds was the most impactful. But if I'm right, if I'm doing this correct and I'm being consistent, I think I've got to make a change. I think my man X Capone has changed my mind mid-conversation, and I think it is Jackie Robinson. Because, again, what Jackie Robinson did was he allowed for people to play of different ethnicity. I mean, let's just call it what it is. Baseball before Jackie Robinson was 100% white. There were no foreign players. There were no black, Hispanic, nothing. It was all white. That was it. So that's what it was. So I think as far as being the most impactful, while I threw out Bonds because I think Barry Bonds is the greatest baseball player that I've ever seen. Whether you want to say he's on steroids or not, and I believe that he was, but you still got to hit a baseball being on steroids, whatever. But as far as impactful, I think it's got to be Jackie Robinson. So that's it for me. Oh, by the way, people that got frozen up, yes, it got frozen. Do yourself a favor, man. Click on the link in the bio, and that will bring you to a live link, and you will not get frozen up on. So make sure you do that, and you won't get frozen up. So I didn't use golf. I didn't put golf as one. But if I did put golf, Capone is right. It would be Tiger Woods. But I didn't use golf. UFC. I said Conor McGregor. Now, before everybody kills me, no, Conor McGregor is not the best UFC fighter ever. No. I don't even think he's close to being the best UFC fighter. I really don't. I don't think he's close. However, if we're just talking about impactful, I don't think I go the opposite way. I don't think it's close when we're talking about impact on a sport that Conor McGregor has been the most impactful for UFC. It was already super popular, and it exploded with him. It exploded. I mean, if he comes back and fights when he's about to come back and fight here fairly soon, the pay-per-view numbers are going to be incredible. And again, I don't even think he's close to being the top MMA fighter of all time. Not even close. Yet, he is the most impactful because the sport has just exploded, and based on his popularity. So that's what I'm talking about as far as impactful. I think Conor McGregor, like I said, I was thinking Chuck Liddell too, but Chuck Liddell kind of got it started. You know, my man Capone he's throwing out some haymakers. I love it. He did a ton for the sport, but I think it was at the beginning, and he basically helped reinvent, because UFC's been out forever. MMA's been out forever, but Chuck Liddell came in at the infancy stage of the UFC becoming popular. Conor McGregor took it to a new stratosphere as far as popularity. He just did. Now, again, not the best, not in that conversation, but he took it to a new stratosphere. So I think Conor McGregor has to get that. Now, as far as soccer, it was iffy. You know, I wanted to go with Pele. I wanted to say Pele. But if I'm being honest, it's got to be Messi, doesn't it? I know there's going to be some Cristiano Ronaldo fans out there that say it's Ronaldo, but I think it's Messi. Just for what he's done, how good he was, and what he's done for the game, I think it's got to be Messi. So that's my personal opinion. That's my opinion. Again, I'm not the biggest soccer guy, so I would love for people to say that I'm wrong. So, but I think for crossover status, now, if it's just a popularity contest, Ronaldo might win it, but maybe he doesn't. Because I think there's a lot of people that, number one, think that Messi is more popular and is better than him. I think the majority of people think that he's better and was better, in their heydays. But I think for all in tactical purposes, I think Messi has had the most impact on soccer. And then the last sport that I did was boxing, and I think that it's Muhammad Ali by a long shot. And I know there's going to be some people, well, look at Floyd Mayweather and what his pay-per-view numbers were. Come on, people. Come on. If Muhammad Ali were boxing today, if he were fighting today as a heavyweight, an American heavyweight, you know how many pay-per-view buys that he would have? Come on. What are we talking about? Let's just be serious. And again, that's not taking away anything from Floyd Mayweather. That's just not. But for what Muhammad Ali meant to, number one, to just people in general, not just boxing fans, just people, and what he stood for, that in itself makes him a lot more impactful than Floyd Mayweather. Because here's the thing. There could be another Floyd Mayweather. They may not have the record, but there could be another guy that comes along that reminds you of Floyd Mayweather. Who has come along since Muhammad Ali stopped fighting that reminds you of him? I'll just ask. I mean, who has come along that you say, oh, man, he's like Muhammad Ali? Who? I mean, I that's all I know. Let's just start there. Who has come along in boxing that says, "Oh man, that's a young Muhammad Ali"? I don't think we've ever heard that since him. And maybe we're never going to either. So I don't know. Tell me what you guys think about those. In football, we said LT. Basketball, we said Jordan. Baseball, I said Barry Bonds, but I'm changing that to Jackie Robinson. In UFC, Conor McGregor. Soccer, Lionel Messi. And boxing, Muhammad Ali. A man, K-Ned, says Johnny Unitas exploded NFL interest and started to move. It was slow to a passing league. Yeah. He's still in the top 20 all-time TD passes. He is. But was Johnny Unitas one of the most impactful players? Maybe. Maybe. So, that could be it. That could be that. I mean, Johnny Unitas can be in the conversation. I don't think that he is as impactful. So, as a phenomenon, Mike Tyson was closest in boxing. As a phenomenon, yes. But he wasn't as good. So, that's the thing. For a glimmer in time until Mike Tyson decided and went out on his own and got into bad management, followed Don King. And when he did that, that was the end of Mike Tyson. That was the end of Mike Tyson as we know it today. So, here's a crazy comment here. Johnny Manziel is the most impactful player of all time. It is what it is. We love when our man comes in and says outlandish stuff. But to say Johnny Manziel was the most impactful player of all time could very well be one of the most craziest statements ever said on Big B Daily Show. Matter of fact, I'm going to go out there and say that this is one of the most outlandish statements that anybody has ever come up with on the Big B Daily Show, and I love it. Thank you for coming on and throwing that out there. I appreciate it. Because Johnny Manziel did have an impact. But to say he was the most impactful player is, he wasn't even the best player of his time. So, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So, my man Ruben says that Messi is the best, but Ronaldo had the most impact. Okay, I can see that. I still think Messi. I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't mind being wrong about stuff I don't know about. I'm assuming Ronaldo is more popular than Messi. Maybe. Is that the case? Do y'all believe that the case? So, do y'all believe that to be the case? And if it is, it is. Peyton Manning was pretty damn impactful. Yeah, but he wasn't revolutionary, though. He wasn't revolutionary. I mean, like, Peyton Manning didn't revolutionize the quarterback position. He didn't do that. He was good, but he didn't revolutionize it. So, let's see. Johnny Manziel on how not to be a pro. Yeah. Yeah, Johnny Manziel didn't even, what did he play? Like 8 professional games? So. Now, here's interesting. My man K-Ned, former Manhattan, Kansas resident, Joe Louis needs a mention. Almost impactful, but yeah, I don't know that Joe Louis was the most impactful, but maybe because his fight with, what was it, Max Schmeling, that second fight when he won and earned back the world heavyweight title at the time was the biggest fight of all time and meant the most to people in America. So, yeah, Joe Louis, I don't disagree. Braden, you don't think Manziel was the best college football player of all time? No. And I'll just leave it at that. No. Doesn't mean Manziel wasn't good, but Braden, if you think that Johnny Manziel was the greatest college football player of all time, I'm going to say this to you with all the respect in the world. You got to watch more college football. That's all I'm going to say to you. You got to watch more college football. Doesn't mean that he didn't have a great year. Doesn't mean he didn't deserve the Heisman. I'm not saying he wasn't great. But if you, first of all, what he did wasn't better than what Lamar Jackson did or Cam Newton or Tim Tebow. So there's that. I didn't even mention any running backs. So while Johnny Manziel was a great college, he was outstanding. Outstanding. But no, he wasn't the greatest college football player of all time. Come on, man. Come on, man. I'm here. I'm just, y'all notice my personal growth. I could have went off on my man Braden, and I'm not going to do that. There it is. Vince Young was better. Yeah. Vince Young was better than Johnny Manziel. A lot of people. So, well, we're going to move to Q&A. Y'all keep bringing the questions. Keep going with the questions and the statements. So, my man Ruben says, Antonio Brown's Twitter is pretty impactful. Yeah, buddy. I did notice, if you all didn't notice, Antonio Brown did file for bankruptcy. Y'all saw that, correct? I mean, who didn't see that coming? I mean, that was the surprise of the century. Antonio Brown out of money. I mean, who didn't see that? Who had no clue that was coming right around the corner, that Antonio Brown would be filing for bankruptcy. So, April H comes in. Ronda Rousey, although clearly not the best, brought eyeballs to female UFC. Now, that's a good one. Ronda Rousey. Yeah. Now, again, she was exposed, and the UFC was just riding the Ronda Rousey train until they could not ride it anymore when they put her up against people that really knew how to fight. And once that happened, she was going to get exposed. But yeah, very impactful. Very impactful. So, see now where people are getting outrageous. Jerome Bettis, the original big back. Was he the original big back, though? I mean, I think that Jim Brown was the original big back. And I know people are going to say, whoa, Jim Brown was 230 pounds. Yeah, but his linemen were 210, 215. I mean, when you're one of the biggest guys on the field, isn't that what a big back is? When you're one of the biggest guys on the field, well, that was what Jim Brown was. I mean, it wasn't his fault that the other guys were 215 pounds and he's out there at 230. But no, Jerome, no. So, of his time, okay, Braden, Johnny Manziel was the best player when he was playing. For the year that he won the Heisman, he was the best player. I'll give him that. But other than that, no. He only played 2 years in college. And 1 year he won the Heisman, he was the best player. The next year he was not. That's it. No disrespect, but Johnny Manziel is not in the when it comes to greatest football players of all time. Can't do that, won't do that. I'm not going to disrespect the game like that. Let's see. My man says Walter Payton in football convo most influential. I mean, they do have an award named after him, the Man of the Year award. And I'm not guessing they're naming the Man of the Year award after somebody who didn't mean anything. Because thousands of men that have played in the NFL and you chose him to name the award for Man of the Year, yeah, that's pretty impactful to me. That's pretty impactful. Not to mention Walter Payton's a damn good football player. So, Cal Ripken, when it came to never missing a game, pretty amazing in baseball. Okay. But Cal Ripken's not, I don't know. Not missing a game. Here's the thing. When it comes to that, he broke Lou Gehrig's record. But if we're just talking about baseball, Lou Gehrig was far superior of a baseball player to Cal Ripken. Far superior. Now, different time. Don't get me wrong. It was a different time. But sometimes stats, if you're just looking at them, Lou Gehrig was a better baseball player than Cal Ripken. But again, different time. Lou Gehrig, I put kind of in the same class as Babe Ruth. I didn't play against the best players that were out there. Did not do that. So, here we go. Johnny Manziel is the only college football player ever to fund an entire college stadium construction out of his own pocket, which I don't even know why you would say something like that. I can't put you on here anymore, man. You got to stop lying. So, Johnny Manziel didn't pay for Texas A&M's construction. So, yeah, I can't put you up there if you're going to lie. Do you think the fact that Luka and Jokic are foreign makes it harder for them to be the face of the NBA? This doesn't have anything to do with politics. I appreciate you saying that, Pat. But, no, I don't think it's political. It might make it harder. The reason that makes it harder for Jokic is because Jokic is one of the guys, he has no interest in being the face of the NBA. He just started doing commercials. I don't even think Jokic, he's not a big basketball fan. I think he enjoys playing because he's good at it. He can make a bunch of money. But I think that's it. I don't think he has any interest in being a star. Where I think Luka wants to be a star. I think Luka likes the limelight. I think he does. And I think he needs a reason to be up there. I think people need a reason for him to be up there. So I think that might have something to do with it. I don't think Jokic has any interest in being a star. Now, here's the thing about Joker. The commercials that he's been in, I think are funny. I think he needs to do more of them. And somebody probably got to him and just said, hey, man, spend a half a day doing a commercial and make $2 million. Who cares? You're funny. Go do it. So I think he may have said, yeah. But I think Luka wants to be a star, but he hadn't been able to get on that stage athletically yet. So I think you're on to something there, Pat, but I don't know if it has anything to do with them being foreign. It might, but I think Americans as a whole would be okay with it. I think that as a whole, they would be fine. They support that. And if we're talking impactful, I think it's got to be, yeah, I think it would be fine. So, let's see. Bronny James goes undrafted. You're saying that to say what, Clayton? That you don't like the kid? Whew. Man. A lot of people don't like this kid out there. Nepotism. They don't like the nepotism. They're okay with nepotism in other places, but they don't like it with him. I don't know why. It's crazy to me. So, good question by LTB Sports. So, who was the greatest crossover athlete of all time? Sports to entertainment, movies, commercial, TV, etc. Well, that's a good question. Who was the greatest crossover athlete of all time? I mean, look, Michael Jordan, but Michael Jordan can't act. So him being in a movie is out of the question. So, I mean, and even LeBron, yeah, that out of the question. Out of the question. I think it might be somebody that might be not as popular. Like Jim Brown could act. He was good, but it was a long time ago. But how many commercials was Jim Brown doing? On TV? That's a good question, man. What do y'all think about that? The Rock? OJ? Yeah. We may not like it, but I think OJ, because here's the thing. We love The Rock, and I love that answer of it being The Rock. But here's the thing about it. OJ killed 2 people, allegedly. And he was more famous the day he died than when he was playing. Just think about that for a second. OJ allegedly killed 2 people. Again, allegedly. Went to jail for 9 years on a robbery because they tried to give him more time for a robbery that most people get 6 months for. He went to jail for 9 years. And the day he died, he was as famous as he ever was. I'm just saying. Bo Jackson's commercials, but is Bo Jackson still famous today? I mean, people know him and they know who he is, but they're not going out of their way to put Bo Jackson in commercials. If OJ didn't have the controversy. So I think The Rock is a good answer. So I do like the answer of Bo Jackson, though. So I do like the answer of Bo Jackson. Kareem was solid in Airplane. Look, I don't know any of y'all's humor, but if y'all don't love the movie Airplane, you need to go watch it. It's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. It is incredible. If you have not seen the movie Airplane, you need to go watch that immediately. It is one of the funnier movies. It's in my top 5 funniest movies of all time. But that's my kind of humor. Old Airplane. So, nah, Ruben. Dion, no. But Jim Brown, yeah. Dion can get there. Here's the thing I'll say about Dion. If they have a good season this year, I think a lot of that perception about him will change. And he'll go up. Yeah. I like that. I like the Dion, not now, but if he can win and win as a coach, a lot of people are throwing Jim Brown out there. I love that Jim Brown answer. Yeah. And Capone, don't start with LT in Any Given Sunday. I get it. And actually, he was pretty good in that movie, wasn't he? But what other roles is he going to be good in? What other roles? And he definitely ain't getting no TV commercials. Charles Barkley or Shaq. Yeah, buddy. Now we're getting somewhere, my man Pat Cockrell. Now we're getting somewhere. Charles Barkley and Shaq. So I like that. So Q&A. Somebody's putting something out here talking about Jimmy Clausen. Laying the foundation. You got to be serious, man. We love to have fun, but come on. Jim Thorpe. I mean, I think we could say Jim Thorpe was one of the most popular athletes, but I would say 70% of the people that are in this chat don't even know who Jim Thorpe is. So the answer's got to be no. I like where you're going with it, though, Wican. I love where you're going with it. Let's see. So my man Darren Howard is going Shaq because he says music, movies, TV, commercials, podcasts. Shaq for the win. I would say Shaq. Barkley is up there. I still like OJ. I still say OJ and The Rock. So I like that. I like that. So good discussion, though. Definitely a good discussion. Anything else from anywhere? Nope. All right, people. We are going to shut this one down for today, man. I appreciate it. Thank everybody again for showing up today. We appreciate it. Again, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Central Time, Big B Daily. No show on Thursday. Just keep that in mind. We'll be here tomorrow and we'll be here on Friday, but no show on Thursday. I'm going back home to my old high school, giving away my brother's scholarship award. So appreciate everybody for being here. Thank you, guys. We will be back tomorrow to do it better, man. Love you guys, and I will talk to you soon.